Don't panic. This is not a stalemate. General Zaluzhny's breakthrough plan. This is what we're gonna talk about today. And I know several people already covered that topic, but I decided to use it to show you how to work with information. Hello everyone, I'm Elena. Welcome back to my channel, Enough of Propaganda. Please like, subscribe, share, write comments. Let's make truth available for everyone. This is what helps to promote it on YouTube. Thank you. Russia is fighting information war with the world for a long time, for almost several decades. I wouldn't think it ever stopped, not even during Gorbachev time. But especially it started to be bad when Putin get to power. And over 20 years he's in power, Russia is fighting information war with the world. The world just woke up to it recently. Oh really, we have a war with Russia? Information war? What? Yes, we do. And this is very important to know how to use information, how to work with information, so it wouldn't used by Russian propaganda and trying to mislead you, confuse you, and make you believe in things which never happened. Let's talk about just this article in The Economist by General Zaluzhnyi, Ukraine's commander-in-chief. The article called Ukraine's commander-in-chief on the breakthrough he needs to beat Russia. General Valerii Zaluzhnyi admits the war is at stalemate, apparently. First of all, I want to tell you that there is more than one article by Zaluzhnyi. And we will talk about at least 3 today. I'll try to be very brief. You can subscribe to Economist. You can subscribe for free for a month and you can read it yourself. This is number 1 what I suggest to do. Go to the source itself. Don't listen to me, to anybody. Have your own opinion. Find information by yourself. It's easy, it's not difficult. This is the most important thing. So I kind of looked at some reliable sources, what other people has to say about it. But I want to know what Zaluzhnyi said himself. And it wasn't easy to find, by the way. Even with The Economist, I was a bit disappointed on this article, because most of it is just Economist's regurgitation of what Mr. Zaluzhnyi said, with a few pulled out, cherry-picked or something quotes. But let's see what is in the article. Zaluzhnyi said that Ukrainian counteroffensive against Russia has advanced very little land-wise, like 17 kilometers in 5 months. General Zaluzhnyi is, Ukraine commander-in-chief. He links the situation to a technological stalemate reminiscent in the First World War, basically. Let's see his exact quote. Just like in the First World War, we have reached the level of technology that put us into a stalemate, he says. The general concludes, this is already not a quote, so this is just a quote. Does it sound to you like it is, we are in stalemate, we have to stop fighting, or anything like that? No. Yet Russian propaganda, every useful idiot, every Russian troll, using this article now, trying to create a whole bunch of different pictures from Zaluzhnyi fighting President Zelensky. Zelensky is against Zaluzhnyi. Oh, Zaluzhnyi said we should give up. No, nothing of that kind. Actually, Zaluzhnyi said a lot of useful things, what exactly Ukraine need to win, and win fast. Because Ukraine doesn't want to lose people. The most valuable assets for every normal country, every democratic country, is people. Russia is not a democratic country, it's a dictatorship. That's why they don't care, they don't give anything, a second thought about how many people Russia gonna lose. As soon as Putin look good, because he's thinking he gonna want to have a re-election, another election next year. And that's why he's doing right now everything possible, Putin, I mean, to make sure that Russians don't even notice the war is going on. The war tried to get squeezed out of Russian mind. Oh, nothing happening, you needn't worry. Yeah, price is growing, but yeah, So they're trying to do secret mobilization. They cannot announce real mobilization. They're just trying to pretend nothing happening, nothing to worry about, just to get Putin reelected. So let's see what a stalemate is. A situation in which further action or progress by opposing or competing parties seems impossible. You can see that this is not what's happening in the war in Ukraine. Ukraine is winning the war. Period. Yes, they don't get in a lot of territories back quickly, but since Russia attacked Ukraine, Ukraine got over 50%, over 54% of its territories occupied by Russia back. Ukraine made Russian Black Sea fleet run away and hide in Russia. They can't even use Black Sea anymore. They can't stay in Sevastopol, in the Crimea. And they keep destroying Russian troops by thousands in a day, by 800, 600, 1,000, mostly near Avdiivka, and blowing up Russian ammunition depots. Get rid of Russian submarine, get rid of Russian dry dock in Ukraine. So does it look like stalemate to you? I'm not sure about Mr. Zaluzhny, but it doesn't look like stalemate to me whatsoever. What Mr. Zaluzhny meant is that Ukraine need more things, more weapons, and we'll talk about it in a minute, to win this war. It's not in the interest of Ukraine to losing people like Russia throwing them in the meat grinder. Ukraine trying to preserve people. Another thing what Mr. Zaluzhny said is that Ukrainian forces and Ukrainian strategy to bleed Russian troops through casualties has not worked, as Russia is willing to accept high casualties. I don't see why Mr. Zaluzhny would presume that casualties would mean anything to Russia. In World War II, Russia lost 27 million people. Before World War II, Stalin killed another over 10 million. As far as we know, nobody counted them enough to know how many people Stalin actually killed. So why in the world somebody would think that casualties mean anything to Russia? To Putin? I don't know, but this is what Zaluzhny said. And that was the idea of democratic countries who actually value human life. That yeah, if there would be high casualties, if Putin will understand he's losing the war, he would negotiate, he won't. Next thing Zaluzhny said is that Ukrainian forces have faced difficulties to moving as fast as planned, encountering minefields, artillery, and drones. This was main problems. And during Russia sitting there and building minefields, huge minefields the size of Florida, yes, of course it is difficult to break through. Modern technology, according to Mr. Zaluzhny, giving both sides the ability to monitor and counter each other effectively, creating a deadlock because everybody knows who is where, what is happening, who is moving troops, and where they're moving them. General Zaluzhny emphasizes that need for innovation in drones, electronic warfare, anti-artillery capabilities, and demining equipment. This is what Ukraine needs. Western allies' supply of weapons and technology has been sufficient to sustain Ukraine, but not enough for victory. That's what Mr. Zelensky said, that what Mr. Zaluzhny said, and this is true. The Western allies giving a lot to Ukraine, but it is not soon enough. Ukraine need things and weapons sooner, because Ukraine losing people. We don't. Nevertheless, Zaluzhny wasn't complaining about it. He just saying it matter-of-factly, this is what we need. To delay an arms deliveries has frustrated Ukraine. But the main cause of their predicament is outdated methods and technology, according to Mr. Zaluzhny. General Zaluzhny believes that Ukraine must remain on the offensive, even if advances slowly, and focus on Crimea as Putin's vulnerability. And according to several people who actually know what they're talking about war, like Mr. Ben Hodges, for example, I'm not an expert, but I do believe they're right. Crimea is very important to take back. talked about it in other videos, so I won't talk about it just now. Another thing Zaluzhnyi said in this article, that he warns of the danger of protracted trench warfare, favoring Russia, in his opinion, due to its larger population and economy. Which is, again, I may say I disagree. Yes, Russia has large population, but they can't train them. They don't have enough weapons to arm them. Main commanders in Russia and main people who actually knew how to fight, many of them dead. And now they just throw in meat into the grinder. They grab people who haven't had in hands a gun, they had only pen and pencil and calculator, and throw them in the meat grinder, and expecting them to do something, just to delay collapse of Russia and collapse of Putin's regime, just to let Putin sit on the throne extra day. As about economy, Russian economy, that's why I'm not talking about it, because nothing to talk about. There is no point to trust Putin on words of anything, let alone economy. They're holding it out of the last possible ways, using anything they can to hold ruble below 100 rubles per dollar, US dollar, just to keep Russians quiet right before the election. After the election, who knows what's gonna happen. Russian economy in really, really bad shape. But Mr. Zaluzhnyi operated probably information which is available, and this is not true information. Russian army is not second army in the world, we already saw that. Putin lies all the time, so no point to believe Putin on anything, let alone on economy. But nevertheless, that is what he said. And another thing, Mr. Zaluzhnyi, General Zaluzhnyi, emphasizes that he needs to find a solution quickly, as Ukraine might run out of soldiers to fight in a lone war. Which is true. The longer the war, it's not good for Ukraine, but it's most likely even worse for Russia. Ukraine supported by the whole world, and Russia is not. And Ukraine will not run out of things. Russia will. And soon. Very likely soon. But this is what Zaluzhnyi said. He said that we need to find solution quickly, and I understand why lose Ukrainian soldiers if you could sit and wait for a few days and get F-16 or get some sort of a weapon which you can use and don't kill soldiers of Ukraine. That is the crucial for Ukraine right now to get everything Ukraine need to win this war. Another article of Mr. Zaluzhnyi, also from The Economist, the Commander-in-Chief of Ukraine Armed Forces, on how to win the war. Technology is the key as the war becomes positional, says Valerii Zaluzhnyi. Let's look at the main things Zaluzhnyi said in this article. First of all, Russian invasion of Ukraine in 2022 has created a global security crisis, leading to a shift of power dynamics worldwide. Multilateral organizations like United Nations and OSCE have failed to maintain order, leaving Ukraine to rely on military force to regain its territorial integrity. The war has transitioned from initial maneuver warfare to positional warfare, resembling the attritional fighting of the First World War. Mr. Zaluzhnyi was saying that he was trying to do different things, use different tactics, use different people in charge, but then he read about some Russian wrote a book about the World War I and said, yeah, we're fighting World War I. Partly I can explain it because by the Zaluzhnyi from former USSR, and Ukraine was part of the USSR. Russia wasn't fighting in World War I alone enough. Russia just ran away and leaving other countries to deal with Germany at the time. That is why people from, let's say, UK or some other countries, not from Russia or USSR, they would know way more about the World War I than, for example, Mr. Zaluzhnyi. So for him it was like a discovery, oh boy, we're fighting World War I. And that is true. But he is mostly saying that the shifting to that positional war is just going. It's not finished yet. But this is where it's going. According to General Zaluzhnyi, to break out of this positional warfare, Ukraine requires key military capabilities and technologies. The most crucial and critical need is air power to control the sky and support large-scale ground operations. This is very important. According to Mr. Ben Hodges, Americans wouldn't even send their troops in that situation when they don't control the sky. Period. That is why some people who criticize in Ukraine and this and that, NATO armies would never even do what Ukraine does. Ukraine just doesn't have any other choice to fight and defend themselves. NATO wouldn't even bother because if they don't have air superiority, there is nothing to talk about. Because they value the life of their soldiers. That is why. Drones, both decoy and attack, are essential for overwhelming Russia's air defense system. This is what Zaluzhnyi is thinking. Electronic warfare is crucial for jamming communications and navigation signals, especially in the drone war. Counter-battery fire, defeating enemy artillery is essential, and precision guiding shells need to be more accurate. Mine-breaching technology is necessary to deal with extensive Russian minefields. Building up reserves and improving mobilization and training processes are vital to match Russian manpower advantage. Despite Russian losses, despite sanctions, it still has superior weapons and equipment, so Ukraine must focus on innovation and modernization to turn the war in its favor. This is what Zaluzhnyi said. He didn't say that Ukraine should give up, nothing of that kind. He just clearly stated what Ukraine needs to win the war. And the most important, in my opinion, this is 9 pages document, which called Modern Positional Warfare and How to Win It, by Valerii Zaluzhnyi. He wrote a whole big article, 9 pages of it, explaining ways to overcome positional nature of hostilities and what to do, how to win the war. I will provide all the articles and document in this document in the description of the video or in the comments, so you're welcome to read it for yourself, to have your own opinion about what Zaluzhnyi actually said. This is what, it's not the article of the Economist, it's what he said himself. And I think it's very important, and according to several, like Michael Naki, for example, many analysts and so on, the people probably would study it in the military academies in the future, what Zaluzhnyi said. But I will just underline some key takeaways from this. Number 1, the transition of war to a positional form leads to its prolongation and poses significant risks to both the armed forces of Ukraine and the state as a whole. The prolonged nature of positional warfare is beneficial to the enemy, allowing them to reconstitute and increase their military power. To break free from the positional form of warfare, several critical objectives need to be achieved. And as I say, one of them is gain air superiority. Next one, breach mine barriers in depth. Increase the effectiveness of counter-battery and electronic warfare. Create and prepare necessary reserves. This is what needs to be done. Fourth, leveraging information technology in military affairs and ensuring rational logistics support. They are essential in the effort to transform from positional warfare. And fifth, to break military parity with the enemy, it's necessary to explore new and non-trivial approaches. So need to be innovative. This is all what Mr. Zaluzhnyi said, General in Chief of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. And this is what you need to know about this. And don't believe in any Russian propaganda about this, that, oh boy, Ukraine gonna give up and this and that. This is what he said. You're welcome to verify it yourself. And thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like, share the information. Let other people to know the truth. And meanwhile, until next time, learn the truth and stay informed.